Hey everyone, it is LSID932 on YouTube. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be a review and recap of Love is Blind Habibi. Let's just say the reunion is fire. It is giving everything a reunion is supposed to give. And I thought Habibi was going to be boring. I really thought they were going to be a little too boring, not culturally, because I love learning about cultures, but I thought the personalities wouldn't be allowed to clash. And boy, did we have clashes. And luckily, we have the host and hostess who can bring them all back into being, very, very calm, but still bring some spice. I will say that, ooh, it was fire. So let me pull up my notes. So the host was dressed very casually. He looked like he was going to really, go out and have drinks with the fellas or whatever. He was very casual, which was interesting. The hostess, she had on a beautiful cream or peach pantsuit. She had embellishments of bejeweled around the suit. That was absolutely gorgeous around the sleeves. It was just absolutely beautiful. So they brought in the couples, Safa and Mohammed, Dunya and Shafiq. I'm like, why is Shafiq walking with a portfolio and case walking in there? Is Dunya's ring in there? Just kidding. Then we has Asma and Hatab. Hatab lost a lot of weight, y'all. Hatab is unrecognizable. I was like, if y'all didn't say it was Hatab, I wouldn't have known it. We have Arma and Karma. He's got no shirt on with his suit. And I'm like, and Karma has a gold fan. Now, let's pause here because Karma always came with the fans. Karma, if you turn out a fan line, I will be a customer. I don't know where you're getting all these fans, but girl, they are beautiful. And you came with a golden fan for this reunion. Please, that was amazing. So we have next Noor and Mido. Noor is dressed like a Barbie. But she had a very short dress, and I was like, they're sitting across from each other. So how is this going to work, Noor? Because my thought of the culture and the region is that much exposure of her body would not be seemly, but I don't know. So leave it in the comments, please. Right after you like, share, and subscribe to the channel, give me a comment. Regionally, especially if you're from the region, how is Noor's outfit perceived? Next, we have Hajar and Simo. I'm surprised Simo even showed up. Let me tell you, I thought Simo was not going to be here. And this is not a play on the fact that Simo just left the resort and never came back. But I really thought he was not going to be here. So the co-host asked the couples, did they give it a try? Because they have Safa and Muhammad on one couch, and then we have an empty couch. And it turns out Dunya and Shafiq are still together. Love it, love it, love it. I do see them together. I do like Dunya and Shafiq. I think for both of them, there needs to be some navigating and maturing to do. But I do see it for them, and I'm happy for them. So we start off with Asma and Hatab. So Hatab says after the wedding, they stayed together for almost 2 months. They returned to real life and real life struggles. His job is demanding, and he told her that from day one in the pods. And he wanted a woman who could work with his flow of work. But y'all, Hatab said his work days from 6 a.m. to 3 a.m. sometimes. He get a little nap and he back at it. I was like, Hatab, come on now. The average young lady cannot handle that kind of hours and stress, lack of attention. So he did say that she needed a lot of attention. She's like, no, Hatab, that is not it. He said, we couldn't see eye to eye on things and we're better off as friends. She agreed, Asma agreed. So I'm like, okay, y'all. She said she understood, that he was goal oriented and she was too, but that's not what she was looking for. But they're happy as friends. And, the host asked them about looks and the marriage. And she's like, on the last time she saw him, There are many layers to people. It's not about money. It's not about, what they look like. That's why she said she didn't stay with Mito. She's like, with Hatab, they never talked about money till the very end in the pods, and because there are layers to people. And I remember that conversation because it's at the end, she's like, well, wait a minute, what do you do? And then Hatab told her about his job and finances and so forth. Because I believe he said he's an architect, and he also has some electronic technology that he's building with his family. So Hatab is, easy on the money. But she's like, she could have stayed with Mito, but she wanted someone with many layers. So the hostess asked about, the relationship. Y'all had ups and downs. Why were y'all not sure of each other? And, Karma says, Kitab says she was my number one from the start. And the reveal was a shock to her, and he didn't know why she was so stressed, and that gave him doubts. So host asked, hey, why were you stressed, Ozma? And she's like, it was intense. There were so many questions running through your mind. She was speechless. She made sure to tell production, and she wanted to insist on speaking to Hatab because she didn't want him to think it was his looks. She just had too much going through her mind, and she did not want him to think that she didn't like how he looked. So hostess asked, Ozma, did you think your family would be there? And she's like, she had hope. And the hostess does explain, which I love these explanations. She says, for religious reasons, a girl cannot marry without the presence of her guardian. So Hatab had to anticipate a no. Good to hear, good to know. And Hatab said absolutely, he was sure it was a no. He said 80% chance she would say no. He was more worried that she would say yes. And then it would be a problem with her parents because customs and traditions are important for him. He said he didn't want to hurt her feelings because he would have had to say no if she said yes. Hatab wishes her the best, wishes for a best husband. And, Ozma says he has a huge heart and glad that she met him. Mito chimes in and says he wanted to clarify that he made 2 mistakes in this whole experiment. One, he didn't give Ozma the chance to clarify her stance because when they broke up, it was a huge row and Mito just walked out and didn't let her speak. Second was giving Noor a chance. I was like, ooh, Mito, come on. You didn't have to say that. So Mito says she's materialistic. She talks about material things all the time. She is beautiful, no doubt. She is absolutely gorgeous, but she's made herself into a product. Mito, you were going in. And I was like, I was not expecting this from Love is Blind Habibi. I was not. So Noor chimes in and says there's a difference between a cheap girl and one with standards. Noor, you were looking over there at Donia. I know that. I saw you looking at Donia. But Donia and Shafiq kind of tuned her out. They were both looking down, gazed off, not all together in the conversation. They tuned her out. So Noor says, since Mito's English is weak, let me explain that standards are the expectations a girl has for her life. And his overreaction shows his lack of confidence. Is that what it showed? So Shafiq interrupts her and says she was looking for an ATM, not romance. Oh my gosh, y'all are going in. I thought this was going to be the most calm, respectable Love is Blind, but y'all are going in. So Noor says, show some respect and don't interrupt me. She's like, they have forgotten that they are men and we are women. And she was raised and spoiled by her family. So she wants the same from a husband. So the host said, why did the relationship fail? And Noor said, she has some advice for Shafiq and Dunya. And Shafiq is like, don't speak to Dunya. Don't speak. She don't need your advice. Save your advice for Mito. If Dunya needs advice, you're going to get it from Safa. Safa is a happily married woman. Stay out my woman's ear. I was like, whoa. Karma then chimes in and says, and Shafiq just shushes her to shut it down. And I'm like, whoa. Shafiq is like, do not speak to Dunya. And Noor tells him to relax. The advice is to boost your confidence. Boost your confidence, Dunya. And Shafiq keeps on interrupting her about don't talk to Dunya. But Dunya does speak up for herself. She chimes in. She's like, I will not take advice from you, Noor. Tell it, Dunya. She's like, I'm not going to take advice from you. And Noor is like, please be respectful and listen. And Shafiq is like, save the respect for yourself before telling me. And Dunya said, I will take advice from every other girl here except Noor. What in the world is going on? I think I'm missing a lot. I'm thinking there's like beef on social media because this is real hot and heavy for being a year out. They are still hot about this. Don't talk to Dunya. And Dunya is like, I don't want your advice. Don't talk to me. Wow. They didn't get truly loud to me, but they were very emphatic. They were very, very expressive. Don't talk to my girl. And the girl's like, I don't need to hear advice from you. Which technically I'm with Dunya. Noor is sitting over there single. And he is Safa, who is happily married through the experiment. I think I'd rather listen to Safa than I would Noor. So Noor says that she is jealous and was jealous of Noor on the show, meaning Dunya. Said she will meet thousands of Noors in her life and she needs more self-confidence rather than fighting with them, because they are beautiful and confident. Noor, that is not good advice other than you should have stopped at she needs to develop self-confidence if that's what you thought. I think Dunya has enough self-confidence. Dunya was never, she was never not sticking up for herself. Dunya, yes, she keeps quiet a lot of times, but when she needs to be vocal, when she feels like it, she is vocal. Mito says, let's remember that after the experiment, Noor went around and said that Mito is not a man and she's not going to be babysitting him. Does that show morals and ethics? He says, Dunya has been 100% genuine throughout all of this. And Noor is like the claim of perfection. Like Noor and Hajar was sitting down next to each other on a couch and they were just whispering to each other. But the mics were turned up. So we heard it all. So Noor tells Dunya to control her fiance. I was like, ooh. So Dunya says that she has, normal reactions for girls. She was jealous at the time. The world is full of beautiful women and God has given us all a measure of beauty. Mito interrupts Dunya to say, at least she has a natural beauty. Ooh. Everybody, the men and the women were like, ooh. Mito admits that it was a mistake choosing Noor and she misunderstands what spoiling means. He says, beauty does not set your standards. Your character does, and she is empty. She is, not very educated. And Noor chimes in and says, by the way, Mito, I have 2 degrees and I speak 3 languages. And if you don't see beyond my looks, you did not get the real Noor. She is the best mix of beauty and brains and respectful. I was like, tell it, Noor. I don't like Noor. Let's put it that way. I don't like her attitude in most things. But that right there, it was by the way, I've got 2 degrees and speak 3 languages. Do not say I'm not educated. That right there, I got to stand up for Noor on that one. Dunya says it's not just her body. It is the whole package that she has given to Shafiq that is beautiful. Her morals, her upbringing, her compassion, a girl who respects herself and does not flirt with an engaged man. Because remember, the whole fight scene at the beach was because Noor was over there flicking her hair and giggling while she was talking with Shafiq. Now with Mito, she wasn't doing that. She wasn't giving Mito the time of day to even have a conversation. She was, fixing her hair, talking a little bit to him, but she wasn't giving as much as she was giving Shafiq. So Dunya's like, hey, it's normal. My fiance is here and you flirting with him in front of my face. I'm going to say something. So Amar chimes in and says, you came for Love is Blind to look for traits and not looks. And Nora's like, if I came for love or attention, it doesn't matter. And Amar is like, you didn't follow the rules and that's why you ended up alone. Dang, Amar. Noir says, so who stayed with you? You were dumped midway. I was like, pew, pew, pew. Oh my gosh. Noir came for blood. I'm sorry. She came for it. Then Amar's like, yes, but I stayed loyal and I did all I can to make it work. And Mito chimes in and says, Noir, you gave effort because you wanted Shafiq. You gave him that perfumed book in the pods and I got a fruit plate. And Safa even did the cheese. And Safa is like, hey, I just cut the cheese. I did nothing special. Don't put me in this. So he said, and then at the resort, you were treating Shafiq better, Mito told Noor. Mito says she used Mito, and I don't understand why he kept saying third person, but Mito said she used Mito to get to the resort. And the host asked Shafiq for his opinion, and he says, hey, I told Mito from the beginning she wasn't for him. She's looking for an ATM machine is blind. She seems like the type of woman who would rather cry in the Ferrari than be happy in a normal car. Shafiq, you said that. You said that. Though I wouldn't mind the Ferrari. But if I'm not going to be happy, you could keep your Ferrari. Shafiq said it very well. Now, whether that is Noor or not, I don't know. This is an edited show. I am doing this review based on not only an edited show, but based off the English subtitles at the bottom. So again, I'm getting third-hand translation. But I loved what I heard or what I read. Shafiq said, hey, she'd rather cry in a Ferrari than be happy in a normal car. So he says she also walks like her nose is in the ear. Like she is, higher elevated. So Karma is like, Shafiq is not right to talk about a woman's looks. And I didn't get that. Did he talk about her looks? He just says she walks with her nose in the ear. I didn't think he talked about her looks. Someone else talked and said that, she looked like, she had work done. She wasn't a natural beauty. That's what I heard before. But Shafiq said, I'm not talking to you, Karma. Karma's like, we're all women here. He's like, I'm not talking to you. You're coming in like a crow. And he was trying to find the word. And she's like, yeah, crow like your outfit. Because Shafiq is dressed in all black. So Shafiq shushes her. And I was like, ooh, we are going there. We are going there. Now Karma has entered, ding, 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 entered the ring. Karma's like, I'm not in your house. You have no right to shush me. And I was like, oh, so if we were in Shafiq's apartment, beautiful as it was, you have a right in that region to shush someone if it's your house. That is very interesting to me. That is absolutely unique. So leave it in the comments if you know. Can you shush? You have a right to shush a guest in your house. So Mita asks her to respectfully stop, and the other ladies stick up for her and the shushing, like, don't shush us. We have a right to speak. And I was sitting back like, what is going on? Because this is different to what I would have imagined with the region, that the woman would take the lead that the man is stating, like, this is not your time to speak. But they are hyping up. Hajar said, you're bullying now. You're attacking girls. Noir said, are they men? They gather together and they don't want to spend money on a woman. And the men raised up and said, no, that's not what you're going to say. Noir's like, you are not men. Y'all are a disgrace to men. And Shafiq has said, you are on the top of that disgrace list. What are we doing? What are we doing? I was like, this reunion had more fire than any reunion before. I'm sorry. I was excited. I understood what was happening. And I was like, I much prefer this than any of the other Love is Blind reunions. So Simo chimes up. Simo says, we are not just men. We are worth 100 men. Noir said, Simo, I didn't talk to you. A guilty conscience will always reveal itself. Noir, y'all are coming in with the metaphor simile. I'm too excited to remember what it is. Y'all are coming in with the analysis and the sayings. Well, dag. A guilty conscience always reveals itself. Simo says, hey, no one disrespected you. And Noir says, stay classy like I thought you were, Simo. And Simo's like, I'm more classy than you. Whoa, 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 whoa. The hostess chimes up and says, time out, y'all. Time out. We're not doing this. I do not engage in these talks. I don't do this. I don't accept this. Everyone can speak, but don't disrespect or belittle each other. Don't hurt each other. We're not here for revenge. We didn't learn to love each other. Then what is the point? If a relationship fails, it is not an excuse to disrespect each other. This whole conversation is provoking to me. And Noir keeps chiming in saying, thank you, thank you. And I'm like, but girl, you were disrespectful too. Come on. Even though you're saying it in a soft voice, like Noir has this very soft voice, and you are disrespectful. And by the way, I have 2 degrees and speak 3 languages. Even though you speak that softly, Noir, you were being disrespectful. Come on now. So the hostess asks them to act like siblings. And I'm like, really? We really gonna ask them to act like siblings? Because sometimes siblings bicker. And I was like, this is the wrong thing. Maybe it translated differently. Maybe she was asking them to act like family. But then again, I'm like, some families bicker. So really, what are we trying to get them? Let's just act like mature adults. How about that? So Noir said there's no going back from this type of disrespect. She will not accept what has happened, and they have crossed a major line. Whew. So in order to veer the ship in another direction, the hostess says, let's talk about the golden couple. Y'all have been married for a year already. So we go to Safa and Muhammad. I was like, yeah, we need to go to the wonderful marriage that came out of this and steer away from some of the heat. Let's cool down, but trust and believe it's going to heat up again. Said, are you in a honeymoon phase? Asking Safa and Muhammad, or are y'all an old married couple? And Muhammad says, no, love grows daily. They're on a year-long honeymoon. And it turns out that the next day from the reunion filming is their 1-year anniversary. So the host asked, did you travel for your honeymoon? Remember, she had a major issue with her job. She couldn't take more time off. And Muhammad at the time said, just call your boss. Tell him you need a week off. You have a honeymoon. So he says, yes, they traveled a lot. And Safa said they went to the global village. And he told her, hey, I tell you, you see the world. I just didn't tell you it'll be in 1 day. So now I had to look it up. They are in Dubai. And the global village, once I looked it up, is a theme park where there are 90 cultures coming together in this one area. So, okay, I can understand the joke now because I was like, why is everybody laughing? I don't get it. So look it up and I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, we're going to travel the world. It's just going to be right outside our door. So Safa says they had a honeymoon for 2 days and then they went to IKEA to find a wardrobe because she was moving in. And Muhammad's like, she brought in a whole bunch of stuff. He said she brought in a truckload. You could hear the beep, beep, beep of the truck backing up. Then Hatab chimes in and says the first time he heard from Muhammad was he called to ask if he knew someone who made closets. And I was like, you know what? That sounds like something Muhammad might do. So Safa said they traveled a lot after the honeymoon and they showed scenes of them together. It was beautiful. Oh, the montage of their first year together. Very nice, very cheeky. They're always kissing on the cheek, always hugs. Remember, this is a different culture. There's not a lot of, how do you call it? Public displays of affection. Not in the region. But they're always, kissing each other on the cheek, hugs, holding hands. That is appropriate in the culture. So the hostess says, many didn't believe Muhammad was there for love, but for fame on the show. And he says he understands that. But they have never done the show. He did not expect to be married. He said he expected maybe to find a life partner. And Safa's like, but you hit the lottery. They have a great banter, and he confirms that marrying her was his best decision. She, too, didn't expect to find a partner in the first few days, but she did say yes to the process. And she's happy she did. The host says, when did you figure out he was the one? And Muhammad is like, when she heard my voice. And she giggles and says, maybe, yes, but he matched all of her priorities. And Shafiq says, hey, we go out with them all the time. They're a perfect match. They complement each other. And Muhammad says, since he got married, Shafiq is always coming over to eat. And I was like, whoa, that is such a big brother, little brother situation. Shafiq said, yeah, he feeds me. He gives me an allowance. Like, y'all are taking this way too far, but it's funny. And Muhammad is like, it's like he smells the food and smells that I have food, and he just comes over, for lunch or dinner. And Shafiq's like, sometimes breakfast. I was like, wait a minute. Are y'all in the same building? Y'all must be close by because Shafiq always coming over. That's funny. So everyone is laughing at this except for Karma and Noor and Hajar. I think those were the three not laughing. So Shafiq is asked to say good and bad about Muhammad. And he says, hey, he has a good heart. The bad trait is that he is jealous. And Safa agrees with Shafiq, and she gets up and they shake hands. Safa, says that, hey, you hit the nail on the head. Muhammad says he remains a traditional man. Yes, he's jealous when there is a reason. And it was a challenge at first, but they worked through it to understanding. So Safa said the first part of marriage was difficult. Jealousy is nice, but there's a fine line between jealousy and control. She says, but we are very mature and we understand why this is happening. So the hostess asks, Safa, do you feel like he listens to you? And she's like, after a fight and feeling resentful for a week, yes, he does listen. So the host asked Muhammad, how did you overcome her work? And he said, he won't stand in her way, but he won't hide what annoys him. But he feels like when she returns from work, it feels like a date all over again, like the first date all over again. So, it is interesting to see that what he saw as a limitation at first, he's using it as, oh, I get to see you again. You're gone for work, but hey, wonderful to see you again. It was good to see they adjusted well. Hostess said, are you excited to experience motherhood? And Safa says, God willing, twins. I guess Safa, I'm with you. She want to have two, one time, get it done and be done. That's me putting in my words. She did not say that. So the host said, as the first married couple of a show, what advice do you have to give the others? And Safa says, find the partner because marriage is a beautiful thing. And Muhammad recommends marriage, but be responsible in it. Next, we have Amar and Karma. I can't do it back to back. Amar and Karma. I can't do it. So host asks any regrets. And, Karma says she wished there was a little less emotional outburst and more respect from Amar. And they're not enemies, but there is a double standard. She points out, like I did in my reviews, he was topless, looking amazing for the camera. But it's acceptable for him, but not for a girl to dance. What is the difference? So Amar says he's not against dancing. It is art. He respects it. He goes on and on and on. But he said when folks commit to marriage, there are sacrifices to be made, and that's normal for the region. And then I'm thinking, what sacrifices are you making, Amar? Because you clearly don't have a shirt on under that suit right now either. But we'll leave that there. He says their society opposes dancing. And he says dancing is a level of allure that it draws attention. And I agree with that. But it's like, what attention are you seeking? What is the intention of your partner? He said it can all look and be more meaningful than a touch. Okay? The dancing and even a look could be more meaningful than a touch. He didn't like that she ended it over one thing. And I'm like, Amar, it's one major thing. She said dancing is a part of her life. So Karma says, don't generalize the region. Her father, her brothers all stand behind her and her dancing and lets her express herself. She didn't like that he said that she, doesn't have a clear image of men when she found him, and he isn't acting like a man. And I didn't like that. I was like, Karma, I wouldn't say he isn't a man. Just say he's not a man to encourage her. That's all I would have gone there. So Amar said, hey, it's all in his upbringing. He found it hard to come back, from that conversation. And he found it hard to even have a back and forth with her about it because he's kind of like, I'm done. I've made my decision. I'm not going back there. He says since she didn't want the relationship, he was done, and he no longer favored her. And Hattab said, hey, men can be controlled by 2 words. And he's like, you just needed a little more diplomacy in how you ended things. And Muhammad says, yes, it's hard to accept no from the woman you love. And the host said, many thought that was controlling, Ammar. People thought so. And Ammar said it wasn't controlling, it was about protection and leadership. I can see that too, but there's a level of control, Ammar. So the host said, would it have been fine if she gave up dancing? And Ammar said it was already fine. That was his only issue, the dancing. And Karma agreed that she had strong feelings for him, and it would have been wrong for her to ignore these differences. And it was wise to end it when she did. She doesn't see how you can love someone and then end things the way he did. And Ammar agreed the connection was real. But my thing is, I kind of with Ammar, but I'm different in a way, because I understand. Ammar is like, you don't want to be with me. We done. We done. That's it. But, Karma is like, I don't want to be with you, but I want my art. But, she didn't really say, can we be friends? Can we continue? It was like, I don't want to do this with you anymore. So he kind of like, okay, we done. I'm not going to play in the camera. I need to go home and heal and rest up. So I kind of understand both of them. She wanted her dance, but I think the way she ended it is what hurt him. And he kind of like had to be like, okay, I'm done. I'm run. So they played clips of their time together in the pods, and the host asked, are there any regrets? And Ammar said, no, this has only made him stronger. It's over, leaving me over one thing. It's hard for me to come back from that. And, they broke it off, and it's hard to trust that the person won't do it again. So I understand that, Ammar. If she broke up with you and you all get back together, it's hard to trust that she won't do it again. But that comes with communication. And I think you're afraid she'll do it again because you know she's going to dance. You know she's going to keep on dancing. So Noor whispers to Karma, well done for leaving for your passions. Men like women with a hobby. I'm like, what? Apparently Ammar didn't like that hobby. So we go to Shafiq and Donia, said, will we get invited to the wedding? And Shafiq is like, they're traveling to his sister's wedding in Africa, and we'll see from there since the whole family will be there. So the host congratulates him on speaking in Arabic, and everyone laughs but Hajar and Noor. Everybody's laughing because apparently Shafiq understands French better than Arabic, and Donia was trying to help him. So they show clips of his Arabic bloopers, the words he's trying to say. Even the producers are helping him in his confessionals, and he's still getting it wrong. And again, everyone is laughing except Noor and Hajar. So they asked about challenges in the relationship. He says, no, the language barrier isn't there since Dunya does speak French. And he didn't understand when she tried to teach him Arabic. And that's one thing I like with the region and other countries. People, when they learn English or if they learn French, they're already in a country that speaks another language. So English becomes their second language. So they already know 2 languages. I know a tiny bit of Spanish from school, high school, but that's just enough to get me through tourist season in Spain. So the hostess talks about, how sweet it was to see Donia's relationship with her mother. And Donia said the mother's doing great and she supports the relationship. And Shafiq says Dunia's mom only has her. And to take Dunia away from her would be selfish. He's like, when you marry, you take on the whole family. And he won't allow Dunia to push him away from his mother, so he wouldn't ask that of her. I love that clarification, Shafiq, because I was like, are you just taking her and the mom is along for the ride? But he does go on to say that this is Donia's first relationship, so it's also hard for the mom too. He said they have an inner circle, but it's better now. And I think that's what they needed, time. I think they need time for the mother, one, to see if Shafiq is truly in love with her daughter and this will be lasting. And also, I think it was, so she can develop her own relationship with Shafiq. Because if Donia is all that she has, there will be a connection there that it'll be hard to give distance to, if you understand me. So I understand that. And culturally, I could see the mother living with them and helping them raise their family. I can see that totally. So Muhammad goes on to say, with a few tweaks here and there, they would have a perfect relationship. So we move to Hajar and Simo. I was waiting for this. Hajar and Simo, I was waiting for this. So Hajar, is mad because folks thinks that she did not stand by Simo with the fight. But he couldn't swallow his pride about the fight and confirms that this is their first meeting since the beach. Because remember, Simo left the next day and never told Hajar. I don't even know how he told production, because they had her standing there on the pier waiting for him to have breakfast. And then they say, hey, we have word that Simo left. And Simo, I don't like that, because she told you abandonment and leaving with no word is one of her deal breakers. It's an insecurity for her. So doing that, yeah, that wasn't cute. So Simo says he knows what he wants, and if he can't get it from the person, he won't give of himself. It's a waste of time. He says she's not good for him and he's not good for her. First true thing I heard you say, Simo. Y'all are not good for each other, and that right there is it. So Hajar says the cake thing was a figure of speech and was taken against her. And the way they were talking, and I know I asked in my review, what's this about cake? Is there a dietary restriction? Because I'm being very literal here. But the way they were talking on the reunion, again, in the translation, is like she wanted to have a relationship with another man before she got married. And I'm wondering, is this why he got mad? She's like, you misunderstood me. But the whole conversation looks like, hey, before I settle into a marriage and with only you, can I have someone else before that? And I'm like, that would make sense as to why Simo got very upset and said that was beneath her, because actual cake wouldn't make sense. So I'm wondering, so put it in a comment, what did you think about this whole cake situation? And she said it was a figure of speech, but what, I understand the whole cake relating to intimacy. So, whoa. Now I would understand why Simo would be mad. Hostess says, does he owe you an apology for leaving and not saying anything? And Simo said, she didn't apologize for not supporting me. And Hajar is like, how would I support you? Would I join the fight? He's like, certainly not sitting there gossiping with Noor. So again, Simo, you're not clear. You're not saying how you expected her to support you. How was she supposed to do this? How would it have eased your mind that she would be able to support you and say, hey, hun, let's go, let's calm down? Because when we saw the clip of the fight, at the end that we saw, and it may be edited, she was standing right behind you like y'all were leaving together. So I don't know. So Jose says, hey, let's talk about looking for dirt on Noor's dress. Was that a flirt? He said, I could do it today and no problem. I was like, dang, are you saying Noor will turn around for you? He's like, it's not a shame. I am safe to leave your wife around. I didn't do anything wrong. And Hajar says, but me talking about cake is shameful? He says, yes, because I did not touch her. Hajar was like, you were about to. I'm not sure I saw that because I went back and looked at it, but it could have been edited out. But I did not see Simo, because Hajar was in front of Simo, or kind of like closer to Noor. I didn't see him trying to reach to touch her. But again, this is an edited show, and I may have gotten the clips that he was, a little distance from her. So Noor expressed that she felt embarrassed and she would feel the same as Hajar. And Hajar feels that, you know, she is not going to tell her insecurity so fast to someone because they can use it against her. Remember, abandonment. Because after that, Simo just left and didn't tell her anything, so she felt that crush of abandonment. So, Ho says, what do you think of the comments after the episode? So Simo said, hey, you can't be loved by everyone. It's normal. I'm not toxic. I'm a nice person, as the other cast members know. I was like, okay, Simo, half of that is true. Yes, you cannot be loved by everyone. Because the internet, there are people who don't know you, who doesn't know your character, and trying to say who you are. It's normal. But then you're like, I'm not toxic, but I'm a nice person. You were ready to fight Shafiq, who is 10 years younger than you. Come on. So Noor, though, while she's whispering to Hajar on the couch, says, he's rude, not toxic. I was like, girl, why are you sticking up for him and not your friend? So Simo says he has apologized to Yasmin. It is not in his education to see a woman cry. And Karma says there's a double standard. So we did see a message from Yasmin, who, you know, was Simo's other love interest in the pod. And, you know, she said, you know, this is a message in response to his message in her DMs. And she says he deleted the message, yet he said he did not. I don't know who to believe. Pull the phone out. Simo, pull the phone out. Let the host and hostess see. Pull the phone out. So she says she's glad she left when she did, and she left with her dignity. I was like, these women are coming with the fire. And I understand why she left Simo. Simo felt a little heavy-handed. He wasn't, but he was very stern in who he is, who he wants, what he will and will not accept. So he is very stern and firm in his standards. But I didn't see Simo as completely disrespectful. But again, this is an edited show, and it's edited, and I'm working off a translation. So Shafiq expressed his regret for misinterpreting the issue with Dunya and Simo when they were talking, because that's what set off the fight. Mido apologizes to Noor for speaking to her roughly earlier, and he was hurt by her not giving as much as he was giving in the relationship. Now, Noor does do the wonderful thing. She accepts his apology. Shafiq and Dunya apologize to the whole group for getting heated earlier and raising their voices. And Muhammad apologized for stealing Safa, and no one got a chance with her. I think we can forgive that. We can all forgive that, because y'all romance was absolutely superb. And Hajar and Noor said they didn't give Hatab a chance, and they're sorry about that. So they celebrated the fact that Muhammad and Safa are together. I wish to thank Love is Blind Habibi. I have learned so much from this season. I hope it comes back. I hope we have a new round of folks. I hope we just go all over the world and we could learn cultures, learn different dating norms. Because for this Habibi group, remember, it is a region. They may all be living in Dubai, but as we saw, they're from all different regions. They're from Morocco, from Sudan. They are from, you know, the UAE. Some have Egyptian roots. It is the entire region. And we get to see it come together in Dubai, and all the cultures kind of blend. So there are dating differences, norms, family traditions. Things are just melted together. It was wonderful to see. It was wonderful to watch and witness. I wish Muhammad and Safa all the best in their marriage. And I wish Shafiq and Dunya congratulations in the future. I'm hoping that they do end up getting married and are together. And, you know, like the host and hostess says, I hope everyone finds their one. I thank you for joining me for this review and recap of Love is Blind Habibi. Please like the video, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I will see you on the next one. Actually, Love is Blind Argentina starts very soon. I'll see you then.